Over on Apple TV Plus, we have a new drama series called Down Cemetery Road. And here's a clip.
2 bodies and a disappeared child. Maybe this case could go all the way to the top.
Well, maybe sort of all the way to the middle.
What would you like us to do with the child, sir?
Move her.
She's not quite ready to come out yet.
What is she, a cake? Have you been inside my house?
Where were you last night?
Who are you?
Zoe Byrne, private investigator.
Yes, so this is a new thriller. First 2 episodes drop on the 29th of October, as usual, for Apple TV Plus, and then it's weekly from there on in. And if you're a Slow Horses fan, then you'll probably like this, to be honest with you. I started out watching it. I've only watched the first couple of episodes, and it's completely different to what I imagined. So I'd read a bit about it previously, and kind of got my head around the idea of what was going on here. But actually, it takes quite a dark, kind of a sinister turn. So it's the setup is, you meet this couple who she works in an art gallery. He is in some kind of a finance job. All sounds very dull to me. They're having people around for dinner. They're all sat around the dinner table. She invites some inappropriate other guests because the other people who were appropriate and were able to talk the jargon of finance while he pulls off this deal couldn't make it any longer. And so they're sat around the table, and thankfully, the inappropriate people are quite funny and make for good viewing. But there's an explosion of a house in their street, a few houses down, and it's sort of it's really interesting how they do it. They're sat at the table, and suddenly everything just kind of stops and goes into slow-mo. As all of the windows cave in, everything crashes in as there's an explosion, and suddenly you're on the street, everybody's running out to see what's gone on. And they the fire crew suggests that it is a gas mains problem, but perhaps there's much, much more. Now, this is where the real big names start to enter the room, because you've got Dame Emma Thompson in this, who plays the part of a private investigator, Zoe Byrne. And basically, the woman who works in an art gallery, Sarah, she learns that a 5-year-old girl has gone missing in a blast. She's totally obsessed. She's quite an intense character, and you can see that right from the very beginning, that she's quite an intense character. She doesn't suffer fools gladly, I'd imagine. She's incredibly articulate and bright, and she becomes obsessed with finding her, and she hires Emma Thompson as her part of Zoe, as a private investigator, and they probe anyone, anything, everything, to try and unravel, I suppose, arguably a far-reaching conspiracy theory, but equally at the same time, what they think is really going on. She thinks she's seen somebody at the very beginning who she thinks she could have done it, and so it goes on. It makes you jump in parts. It's a thriller. It is pretty creepy in parts. It involves children. You know my feeling about children. When I think children or animals, I'm crying straight away. It's a really big problem. For a script like this to kind of really entice people like Emma Thompson, it tells you everything. As I say, Sarah, who works in an art gallery, she's an art restorer. I think she holds this together really, really well. I think she's a really, really strong character, and right from the beginning, she kind of knows her own mind. It seems like a real mismatch, her and her husband, actually, or her and her partner, I should say. Seems like a real mismatch. But I think this is really quite different. It's typical Apple TV Plus, which I always say it's a big budget, done really nicely, and as I say, completely different to something that I thought I'd be watching, because when you think of a thriller, you think immediately edge of your seat stuff, scary, all the rest of it. This just really isn't like that at the very beginning. As I say, this kind of way that the explosion goes off, and it's just in slow-mo as it happens, the glass shards flying through the window onto the dinner table, everybody running out. The people at the dinner table have got children at home, checking their kids are okay. Thought it was really very good. What did you think, Ian?
I was very disappointed. First of 2 shows this week featuring art restoration, I should add. But yeah, anything with Emma Thompson and Ruth Wilson, you're like, wow, this is going to be great. But I felt it was really overdone, overcooked, dialogue no one would ever speak. The baddies are too bad. The quirky people are too quirky. Emma Thompson plays this private investigator who's in business with her husband, and she's just way too quirky a character. She looks like Annie Lennox. The dialogue is dreadful. Ruth Wilson, you're right, she holds it together because she plays art restorer Sarah, and she just nicely underplays it. And of course you've got, I think, Darren Boyd, although he's almost like the Malcolm Tucker of the Minister of Defence in this. He's way over the top, but you can tell he'd make a great baddie. And then you've also got the wonderful Adil Akhtar, who is very amusing as Darren Boyd's underling who's trying to clear up the mess. So yeah, it's a big cover-up. Are they going to get to the bottom of it? I don't care. Disappointing, I would say.